Welcome to BrewFix, where coffee meets craftsmanship. And if your espresso machine suddenly starts making a loud pump noise, but no coffee comes out of the group head, it can be both confusing and frustrating because the machine sounds like it is working harder than ever, yet nothing actually happens when you try to brew. And this situation often leads people to believe that the pump itself has failed, when in reality the problem is usually related to water flow restrictions, air trapped in the system, or blockages that prevent water from reaching the coffee puck. To understand why this happens, it helps to visualize the espresso machine as a pressurized water circuit, where the pump draws water from the reservoir or water line, pushes it through internal tubing and valves into the boiler, and then sends hot pressurized water through the group head, where it extracts coffee from the ground beans. But if anything interrupts this pathway, the pump will still run because it is electrically powered, yet water will not move through the system properly. And this often produces a louder and higher pitched vibration than normal because the pump is working against resistance rather than pushing water smoothly through the machine. One of the most common causes of loud pump noise with no coffee extraction is an airlock inside the pump or intake line, which can happen when the water tank runs empty, when a machine has been recently descaled, or when it has been sitting and used long, enough for air to enter the internal water circuit. And because vibration pumps depend on water inside their chamber to generate pressure, they cannot effectively compress air, meaning the pump vibrates loudly but fails to draw water forward until the air is removed from the system. Which is why technicians often prime the pump by activating the brew function while opening the steam valve or hot water tap, so trapped air can escape and water can refill the pump chamber. Another common cause is a blockage inside the group head or brew pathway, especially when coffee oils and fine particles accumulate over time in shower screen, dispersion plate, or solenoid valve, gradually reducing water flow until the pump struggles to force water through the obstruction, producing the characteristic loud buzzing sound while little or no coffee flows through the portafilter. Mineral scale from hard water can also create similar symptoms because calcium deposits build up in small tubes, valves, and boiler outlets, narrowing the internal passages that water must travel through. And when the pump attempts to push water through these restricted channels, the increased resistance causes the pump to vibrate more aggressively while flow decreases dramatically. Intake restrictions on the reservoir side of the system can also cause loud pump noise, particularly when small filters inside the tank or intake hose become clogged with debris, preventing the pump from drawing water properly and forcing it to run dry or partially dry, which amplifies vibration and prevents proper brewing pressure from forming at the group head. Diagnosing this type of problem becomes easier when you think of the espresso machine as a sequence of hydraulic stages where water must travel from the reservoir, through the pump, past valves, into the boiler, and finally through the coffee puck. Meaning that if the pump runs loudly, but no coffee appears, the interruption must exist somewhere along that pathway. And by checking the water supply, priming the pump, cleaning the group head, inspecting intake filters, and ensuring the internal passages are free of scale, you can usually restore proper water flow without replacing expensive components unnecessarily. Once you understand how airlocks, blockages, and scale buildup affect pump behavior, the loud buzzing sound becomes less mysterious and instead becomes a useful diagnostic clue that tells you the pump is working but encountering resistance somewhere in the system, which is exactly the kind of practical knowledge we focus on here at BrewFix to help coffee enthusiasts, baristas, cafe owners, and aspiring technicians understand how their machines really work, troubleshoot problems with confidence, and keep their espresso machines running reliably so every shot of coffee flows smoothly instead of being interrupted by mechanical surprises.